Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are solving the funnel challenge from 𝑭𝒐𝒏𝒈. So without further ado, let's get to it. Task 1. How many TCP ports are open? So we just need to perform an nmap scan with the switch 𝑭𝒐𝒏𝒈 because this is a scene scan that specifically interacts with TCP ports. This switch is used to send the signal to different spots on a network to see if they are open for communication. But instead of making a full connection, it just starts the conversation and then stops. This makes it harder for the network to notice that it's being checked. Now, because we are using this switch, we need to insert the command sudo because we need root permissions to run this switch, okay? Then we are using 𝑭𝒐𝒏𝒈. This switch is a convenient and powerful way to enhance an nmap scan with additional checks that are commonly applicable across various network environments. It helps gather more detailed security-related information without needing to manually specify which scripts to run. Then we use the 𝑭𝒐𝒐 to tell us information during and after the scan. Okay, so from our scan we can see that we have two ports that are open, the 21 and the 22. So that's our answer for task 1. And also we can see that the port 21 is running FTP. And we can see that we can perform a login anonymously, okay? Now, task 2. What is the name of the directory that is available on the FTP server? So if you look at our scan, you will see that we have here a directory that is called mail backup. So that's our answer, okay? Task 3. What is the default account password that every new member on the funnel team should change as soon as possible? What we are going to do is log in via FTP. So let's do it. FTP and then our IP address. As name we are going to use anonymous because, as I told you before, we can perform an anonymous login, okay? So anonymous without password, let's see, and as you can see our login was successful. Now, as you can see here, our remote system type is Unix, which means that we can run Linux commands. So let's list everything. To list everything, we just need to use the command l and s. So, as you can see, we have our directory called mail backup here. Now let's change of directories to the mail backup directory. So, cd and mail backup. As you can see, we are now in the directory mail backup. Now let's list everything inside of it. And as you can see, we have here two files. Now let's download them to our machine. And to do that, we just need to use the command get. So get the name of the file. And now we just need to download the other file. These files will be downloaded to the directory where you are currently in. So, for instance, I'm currently in the directory called funnel. So these files that I downloaded will be there, okay? Now we can exit our FTP connection. So exit. And now if I list the contents of the funnel directory, so of my current directory, you will see that now I have the files that I downloaded. Now we can just read the files. So let's read the file called welcome. So the file welcome, it's a welcome email sent to these people here, as you can see. And it seems that these people are new in this company. Also, it's an email that says to read the password policy, okay? Now, let's read the PDF file. Open, and now passwords. Here we have our password policy. So as you can see, passwords should be complex. Can't have password easy to guess, like password 1, password like this. And the default password is funnel 123 in these characters here, okay? So, by the way, the answer to task 3 is this one. What is the default account password that every new member on the funnel team should change as soon as possible? As we saw on our document called password policy, we can see that this is the default password. So task 4, which user has not changed their default password yet? Well, to answer this question, we can log in via FTP using the names on the email and the default password, but I will save you some time and tell you that the user that has not changed their default password is Christine. So, once again, I will show you the email, and as you can see, if you try each of these users, you will see that the user that has not changed her password is Christine. So, we just need to perform a login via FTP with Christine. So, if you try to log in using as username Christine and password the default password, you will see that we have a successful login. So, I will show you FTP, then our IP address, then we insert the name Christine, and as passwords, we'll go back to our PDF and copy the default password. And as you can see, we are able to perform a login. Now we know that we can use our Christine username and our default password, but we are not using this FTP connection, so you can exit. So the answer to task 4 is Christine. Task 5. Which service is running on TCP port 5432 and listens only on local hosts? We can perform an Nmap scan on our specific port. So we can use on our Nmap scan the switch capital A, and this switch performs an aggressive scan, which will tell us service and version information among other things. Then we can use our default port 5432 and our IP address. So the service running on port 5432 is PostgreSQL. So that's our answer, as you can see here. Now let me just tell you that PostgreSQL is a type of database. Task 6. Since you can't access the previously mentioned service from the local machine, you will have to create a tunnel and connect to it from your machine. What is the correct type of tunneling to use? So we have two options here. We have remote port forwarding or local port forwarding. So, local port forwarding allows your local machine to access a remote network service through an intermediate server, which acts as a bridge. This is particularly useful when direct access to the remote service is restricted due to network policies or firewalls. So, remote port forwarding is about making a service on your local network available to an external network. So, having this in mind, where we need to access a PostgreSQL service that is not directly accessible from our local machine, we would use local port forwarding to create a tunnel. This approach will allow us to securely forward requests from our local machine to the remote PostgreSQL server through an intermediary. So that's our answer, and let's use local port forwarding to access PostgreSQL. First, we need to set up an SSH tunnel, and this will serve as our intermediary. To do that, we use the command ssh-L, then you can use a port that you want. I will use this one, then localhost, then here you have to insert the port where the service is running. So the port is 5432, and then the username Christine, and then the IP address. Now let me just tell you that the capital L switch is used to set up a local port forwarding. The local port, so this one here, is a port on your local machine where you want to access PostgreSQL. Then the local host, in this case, refers to the remote host itself and not of our local host. Then the remote port, that is this one, is the port where PostgreSQL is running on the remote host. Now, how does this work? So the SSH client on your local machine starts listening on local ports. Any network traffic that comes to this port on your local machine will be captured by SSH. This traffic is then securely tunneled from your local machine to the remote host over the encrypted SSH connection. This tunneling ensures that the data remains secure and private as it travels over the internet. Once the traffic arrives at the remote host, it is forwarded from the SSH process on that host to the remote port on the same machine. Essentially, any application that connects to the local port on your local machine is actually connecting to the remote port on the remote host, even though it appears to be to the application as if it's connecting locally. Now we click Enter. Now we enter the Christine's password. We click Enter, and as you can see, we could establish a connection. So be sure to not exit this connection, because in order to have access to the PostgreSQL service, we need to be connected. Now we can connect to the PostgreSQL. However, before we do it, we need to see if PostgreSQL server is running. So I will open a new tab, and to see if PostgreSQL is running, we just need to insert the command sudo systemctl status PostgreSQL. You click Enter, you insert your password, and as you can see, our PostgreSQL is inactive, so we need to active our PostgreSQL. To do that, we just need to use the following command: sudo systemctl start and PostgreSQL. You click Enter, and now if you run the command status, you will see that our PostgreSQL is active. So now we can connect to PostgreSQL with the command psql -h, and then the host name, that in our case is localhost. It's localhost because it's where the PSQL client should attempt to connect, okay? So, localhost -p. This switch specifies the port on our local machine that the SSH tunnel is using to forward connections to the remote PostgreSQL service, and as you remember, my port was 8000. Then capital U, that specifies the username, that in our case is Christine, and -d, that specifies the database name, that in our case is Postgres. Now we insert the default password because this is the Christine's password. And we are now connected to Postgres, okay? So let's continue. Task 7. What is the name of the database that holds the flag? So to know this, we can insert the command help and see what's the command that lists all the databases. So we need to use this here for help with PSQL commands, okay? Okay, now we just need to search for a command that lists all the databases. Okay, here we have it. Is this one? So let's use it. So we just need to insert this and L. So with this we can see a database called secrets, and I think that this is the database that we are looking for. So that's our answer to task 7. Now we just need to set the secrets DB as our current DB, and for that we use the command, let me just show you, /c, and then the name of our DB, okay? Secrets Now we list what's inside of secrets.db with the command /det, and as you can see we have here our flag, okay? Now we just need to see the contents of the table called flag, and to do that we just need to use the command select all from and then the table's name, in this case is flag, and then semicolon. Then you click enter, and here we have our flag, okay? Let me just tell you that I used all these commands here, but you can access it by using the command help. Then you can use this one for PSQL commands or this for SQL commands. As you saw here, this is a SQL command, so you can do a little bit of research here or you can just Google it, okay? Now, task 8. Could you use the dynamic tunnel instead of a local port forwarding? Yes or no? The answer is yes. So, local port forwarding is like setting up a direct line between your computer and the database, and you decide which port on your local machine connects straight to the database port on the remote server. It's like building a private bridge directly to the database you need to access. Now, dynamic tunneling, on the other hand, stands up a more flexible path. It's like creating a network of potential paths that you can use to reach not just one but many different services on the remote network. However, this method might require some extra steps to get your database tool to use these paths correctly. So, while both methods help you reach your destination, local port forwarding gives you a straight private line to just your database, making it simpler and often quicker to set up for this specific task, okay? So, this is our root flag, and as you can see, it's the same that it's on our terminal. Well, that's it guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated with all our latest content, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time, stay curious, stay inspired and keep exploring. Bye bye!